Over 40 years ago, I picked up a small metal object with brass rollers on both ends. It's about 1.5 inches long, has some weight to it, and there's a felt pad inside, though it's hard to see because of the tight gaps. One side is marked, Bruce Humphreys Publishers, Boston, Massachusetts, made in USA. Any idea what this was used for? The object you found is a vintage staff writer, a compact tool designed for musicians and composers to draw musical staff lines on blank paper. This device allowed users to create staff lines anywhere without the need for pre-ruled paper. The brass rollers on each end were inked by the internal felt pad, enabling the simultaneous drawing of 5 parallel lines representing the musical staff. The staff writer was produced in the 1950s and 1960s and distributed by various music publishers, including Bruce Humphreys Publishers of Boston, Massachusetts. Its compact dimensions and solid construction made it a portable and durable tool for musicians. The design of the staff writer was inspired by earlier tools like the rastrum, a 5-pointed pen used since the 16th century to draw staff line, and the Stravagor, invented by composer Igor Stravinsky around 1911. I came across this old tool in my dad's workshop. It has a wooden handle and a metal plate with saw-like teeth. It looks like something used for woodworking, but I'm not sure. Does anyone know what it might be? What you've found is a veneer saw, a specialized woodworking tool used for cutting thin sheets of hardwood veneer. Veneer is a fine layer of decorative wood that's commonly glued onto furniture or panels to give the appearance of solid wood without the weight or cost. One of the key features of this tool is its offset handle, which is elevated above the blade. This design allows the user to cut flush against a flat surface, such as a workbench or the edge of a panel, while keeping their hand out of the way. The curved blade shape also helps with controlled, intricate cuts, particularly when trimming veneer in tight spots or around corners. I saw this strange drill hammer-looking tool posted in a machinist group. Kind of looks like it has a Jacob's chuck on one end, but I have no idea what it's actually used for. Anyone recognize it? What you came across is a specialized glass cutting tool known as a splitter, patented by George Philippe on May 17, 1949. This tool was designed for precision cutting of large glass sheets, commonly used in window fabrication. Its most distinctive feature is a rotable diamond cutter head mounted at one end. The tool is engineered to be used along a straight edge, allowing the diamond tip to score the glass in a controlled, continuous line. The handle is unusually long to provide better leverage and reach, enabling the user to apply steady pressure across the full length of the glass sheet. The ability to tilt and rotate the cutter head means the user can adjust their hand position without losing contact with the guide, a crucial advantage when cutting larger panes or working on site. Dear viewers, if you enjoy our videos, please subscribe to the channel and give this one a thumbs up. It influences the YouTube algorithm and the video gets promoted more effectively. Thank you. I bought a silver spoon on Facebook Marketplace while in Portugal. The listing just said it was silver, but the top part has a really distinctive shape. I'm curious, does anyone know what this type of spoon might be used for? The spoon you purchased is a silver medicine spoon, most likely made in Europe sometime between the early 18th and late 19th century. These specialized spoons were designed to make it easier to administer liquid medicine, particularly to children, the elderly, or bedridden patients. What makes this type of spoon unique is the partially covered bowl and the narrow hole at the end. This design allowed caregivers to pour the medicine gently into the patient's mouth, while minimizing spills. Medicine spoons like this were often made from silver not only for its durability, but also because it was believed to have hygienic or even therapeutic properties. They were sometimes included in personal travel kits or household medical chests. I found this strange metal object out in the desert. It has a very geometric shape that doesn't seem natural, and it looks and feels like cast iron. It weighs around 10.5 ounces. Any idea what it might be? What you found could be a worn-out grinding ball from a tumbling mill, a large rotating drum used in mining and industrial processing to crush materials like ore, rock, or cement. These mills operate by rotating heavy steel or cast iron balls along with the material to be broken down. As the drum turns, the balls tumble and grind the material through impact and friction. Over time, these balls wear down from constant contact with hard materials. Originally spherical, they gradually lose their shape, becoming more geometric or flattened, frequently resembling unnatural-looking metal lumps. While cleaning out an old tool closet, I came across a small metal tool that folds down to about 2 inches and comes in a red leather pouch. When unfolded, it has 2 telescoping rods that extend to around 17 inches. They're not spring-loaded and don't lock, but they stay extended. It was stored with regular hand tools like drills. Does anyone know what this might be? This item is a vintage folding garment hanger, commonly referred to as a midget hanger. It was patented in 1912 by inventor Lozer Kalina as a portable solution for keeping clothing neat during travel. The compact design allowed it to fold down to just a few inches in length, making it easy to carry in a vest pocket or store inside a small pouch, like the red leather one you found it in. When extended, the hanger reveals 2 telescoping arms that support garments such as coats, vests, trousers, or skirts. While the rods don't lock into place, they stay extended through friction alone, which was sufficient for light to medium weight clothing. The center section typically included a hook or slot that allowed the hanger to be suspended from a rod or nail. These travel hangers were especially popular with businessmen, military personnel, and frequent travelers in the early to mid-20th century. I came across a small cylindrical object that sort of unrolls or twists open, revealing a hollow tube on one end. It has Fairchild inscribed on it and measures about 2 to 3 inches long. There's also a thin slit running lengthwise down the body. Any idea what this might be? What you found is a Victorian-era pencil pendant, manufactured by the Leroy Fairchild Company, one of the most prominent makers of fine writing instruments in the 19th century. When twisted or compressed, the open slit would gently grip the graphite, allowing it to be used for writing or sketching. These pencil pendants were especially popular among women in the late 1800s and were commonly worn on chatelaines or as part of a necklace. Leroy Fairchild was a prolific inventor and craftsman, holding numerous patents for pencil mechanisms, ornamental designs, and pen holders. His company became a leading name in American writing tools. However, despite its earlier success, the Leroy Fairchild Company eventually went bankrupt in 1905, making surviving examples like this one increasingly rare and collectible. I found a wooden box that contains a removable metal sphere. When I shake the sphere, it makes a metallic rattling sound, like there are tiny balls or pieces inside. My dad discovered it in a relative's house after they passed. Any idea what this could be? What you found is a type of alcohol hydrometer, a scientific instrument used to measure the strength and density of liquids, typically in the context of alcohol production. These were essential tools for distillers, brewers, and even tax officials who needed to calculate alcohol content for quality control and taxation purposes. The metal sphere you described is likely the weighted float of the hydrometer, and the small metallic balls you hear inside serve as internal weights that help stabilize or calibrate the instrument. When placed in a liquid, the hydrometer floats, and the point at which the liquid meets the scale indicates the alcohol concentration or specific gravity. I found this object in an old countryside house in Cantal-Auvergne, France. It looks a bit like a machete, about 18 inches long and 6 inches wide. It's not sharp, but it does show signs of wear. Any idea what it might have been used for? What you found appears to be a ram dao, a traditional ceremonial blade originating from Nepal and parts of eastern India. While it resembles a machete in shape, the ram dao is typically much broader and heavier, and it was never meant for everyday utility work. Instead, it played a significant role in religious and ritual contexts, particularly during festivals such as Durga Puja. The ram dao was traditionally used for animal sacrifice, and its wide, curved blade was designed to deliver a single, powerful strike. These blades were usually handled by a designated caste or group of ritual specialists known as khajas, who were trained in ceremonial slaughter practices. The blade's distinctive size and design weren't just functional. They also held symbolic meaning, representing the strength and will of the deities to whom the offerings were made. In Hindu iconography, goddesses like Durga and Kali are frequently depicted wielding weapons that resemble the ram dao, emphasizing its spiritual significance. What is this chainmail-like item I found at a yard sale? It has a flexible mesh of interlocking wire loops, a leather strap with buckle closures, and looks like it was meant to protect the thumb or hand. Any ideas what it was used for? This item is a protective thumb guard, patented by Peter Waller in 1915, designed specifically for husking corn. During that period, hand husking was still common in American agriculture, and repeated contact with sharp husks frequently resulted in painful cuts and blisters. Waller's invention offered a practical solution: a flexible metal mesh that conformed to the shape of the thumb, reinforced with a leather wrist strap to hold it securely in place. Because of its effective construction, it may have also been adopted in other trades like butchery, where workers needed to shield their thumbs from slips of the knife or sharp bones. I came across a small all-metal item that looks to be around 80 to 100 years old. It's about the length of a baby carrot and has a few moving parts. It came in a wooden case with a carved indentation that matches its shape exactly, so it seems like a standalone piece. Any idea what it is or what it might have been used for? The item you've discovered is a phleem, a traditional medical tool once used in the practice of bloodletting. For centuries, this procedure was believed to help treat illness by draining blood to rebalance the body's internal systems, in line with the old humoral theory of medicine. The word phleem comes from the Greek term phlebotom, meaning to open a vein. These instruments have been used since ancient times, with examples dating back to early medieval Europe. By the 17th and 18th centuries, phleems had evolved into compact folding tools, usually featuring short, angled steel blades fitted into a brass or metal housing for durability and accuracy. Most phleems contained several blades of different sizes, allowing the practitioner to select one appropriate for the task. The blade would be placed against the vein and then tapped with a small stick or mallet to make a quick incision. This approach helped control the depth of the cut and reduce the risk of unintended injury. Although some phleems were used on people, they were far more common in veterinary care, especially for horses and livestock. For human patients, smaller and more precise tools like lancets were typically favored. I've had this odd triangular item since I was a kid and could never figure out what it's for. It's made of metal, feels a bit heavier than it looks, and is marked US 4-inch on one side, with an L inside a diamond. It has 3 holes and measures 4 inches from base to tip. The back has some worn lettering that seems to start with MIW. This item is an earth anchor, more specifically an arrowhead anchor, a type of ground-based anchoring device used to secure cables, structures, or equipment without the need for permanent fixtures. These anchors are driven into the soil using a rod or drive tool that fits into the back end, opposite the pointed tip. Once in place, the anchor rotates and locks itself into the surrounding earth, creating a stable and reliable anchor point. The holes in the anchor are designed for threading steel cables or rods through, allowing it to hold tension once buried. They're commonly used in utility work, construction, erosion control, and by outdoor enthusiasts for setting up slack lines or guy wires when no trees or fixed points are available. The US 4-inch marking refers to the size of the anchor, and the L inside a diamond is likely a manufacturer's logo. These markings, along with the partially visible MIW, may point to a specific US military or industrial supplier, as these anchors are also used for temporary field installations. During a bathroom remodel, I found some tiny glass tubes filled with liquid hidden under the vanity. They're about 2 inches long, very lightweight, and have colored ends. Does anyone know what these might be used for? What you found are vintage perfume samples known as nibs, a patented form of fragrance packaging that was popular from the 1930s through the 1950s. These small tubes, usually made of glass, were designed to let customers test a wide range of perfumes without purchasing full-size bottles. Each tube, around 2 inches long, was filled with a small amount of perfume and sealed at both ends. To use it, one would simply snap off the tips and let the fragrance drip onto the finger or wrist. The colored ends helped identify the scent inside, making it easier to distinguish between different fragrances in a sampler set. A popular advertising line from that era stated, "It is no longer necessary to buy many expensive bottles of perfume in order to select the right fragrance for you. Use 25 nib spotlets, then select your favorite perfume. These sets were frequently given away by department stores or included with high-end purchases. Because the tubes were sealed tightly and stored in darkness, the perfume inside typically remains surprisingly well preserved even decades later. I opened a bag of Hershey's Candy Cane Kisses and found a small, solid metal object inside, about the same size and shape as the candy. Could this be a piece of factory equipment? What you found is likely a metal dummy that was intentionally placed in randomly selected bags to test Hershey's automated quality control systems. These dummies are used to verify that the metal detectors on the production line are working correctly. If one of these test pieces ended up in a retail package, it may indicate a malfunction or oversight in the system, which raises concerns about the possibility of other foreign objects making it into consumer products. In the last video, I showed you a strange item with wheels, a pointed metal rod, and a hollow tube with a wing bolt and asked if you could guess what it was used for. This tool is actually designed for removing weeds from narrow cracks and crevices, such as those between paving stones or along walkways. Now I want to invite you to identify another mysterious object. This tool has a rotating part with spokes of different diameters that align with a hole on the opposite side. What do you think this item is used for? Leave your guesses in the comments and I'll reveal the answer in the next video.